tonight or not. I just thought I'd do a live stream on women's college basketball and just go through some of my recent videos and just take questions and things like that. So currently nobody is watching this, so I'll just information probably use it for a video that I'll use later. I guess the games today. I'll probably have to recap this in a bit, but the big one, the one I haven't seen, I'll fully admit, the one that I haven't seen was NC State. Um, NC State got the win. What are the games for next week? Let me just run them down. So, yeah, NC State took down UNC. They seem to, yeah, handle them pretty well. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. All right. Okay, that's success. Not playing around with software today. I'm just going to go straight out talk. Um, and just take questions. I just want this to be really, really interactive. Love your channel, but I'm happy your uh, LSW Who team lost. You were LS. What is LS Who? What LSU? I'm an LSU homer. Is that right? Oh my God, LSU hates me. Well, everybody hates me. Oh my God, that's so funny. Okay, yeah, LSU. USC, UCLA round three. That is the one, isn't it? Yeah, let's get it on. In Texas. You know what? I was thinking about that. Um, I was always, would I rather the NCAA tournament be the top 8 teams and each team play a 3 rounder? You know what I mean? Like a 3 game series versus what they have. I know it's wonderful with the one and done like that, but if you had your druthers, would you rather just be a 3 game knockout series? It would be tempting. I think that might be better when you think about the top 8 teams or maybe the top 16 teams. I'm in for that actually, and that's essentially what you're going to get with Texas and South Carolina and USC and UCLA. Yeah, welcome, Saeed. Yeah. So I hope this goes okay. I'm just going to take questions and shoot free form. Okay. First, the games I saw. So I guess it's fresh in my mind. Oh, well, let's start with Notre Dame and Notre Dame, their loss to Duke. Yeah, you could see this coming. Duke's just not Duke. Notre Dame's just not shooting the ball very well, and Maddie Westphal, she's just not going real well right now. You know what, Saheed? Fatigue, and I'm gonna do a video tonight. I've done the minutes on this, and I'm not gonna share it like God. I'll put this on my other screen. I can't share my screen unfortunately, but I was thinking the same thing that you were, and yeah, I can't share my screen. You know what I've done is I was thinking exactly like you were. I took all of the teams, the top 8 teams, and broke down their minutes and where they sit. All right. So um, I won't bore you with the total details, but I did it from like best to worst. If you like, who had the most minutes, right? Who do you think? Who do you think? What team do you think? Sort of their stars had the most minutes. Like out of the top 8 teams, if I gave you TCU, LSU, Texas, the big dogs, who do you think has the most? Well, I'll tell you who it is. It's TCU actually, with Haley Van Lith has played 1,106 minutes, with Madison Connor like over 1,000, and Prince like at 909. And then right behind them is LSU with Anissa Morrow, who went down with that foot injury. I mean, it was a contact injury, and these things happen. But yeah, then it's Anissa Morrow, and then third is Notre Dame. So Notre Dame has Olivia Miles playing 1,000 minutes, and then Hannah Hidalgo on 990, and Citron playing 950, and King at like 889. I think King missed a few games with an injury early on. Um, and then, funny enough, then it's NC State. Then it'd be USC with Juju. She has 1,007 minutes, and Kiki has like 852. It's really Juju, and then she uses the rest. And then after that, it gets lower. So it's like, let's see. Oh God, I just lost it. It goes Duke. with Ashlyn Jackson like 882. Then it'd be UConn next. Sarah Strong with like 863. He's kept Oriem has kept Becker's minutes down at 853, and then it would be UCLA with Betts at 811, and Gabrielle. Um, God, I don't want to say her name wrong because I know she doesn't like Jaquez. It's Jaquez is 762, and then the team. Of course, you knew this. It'd be South Carolina Pow Pow 783. So there you go. So when you look at the minutes, Notre Dame might be a tired team, but they're just not shooting the ball well. Uh, OSU did the same thing last year. Yes, they did. OSU. I think people figure out OSU's press. Maddie, I think, is still not fully recovered because she's way better. I agree with that. Or it could be a thing with Maddie that she's just Maddie Westbelt. She's just getting her. Sometimes you come back, you're strong, and then your legs get heavy, and you get that second wind. So that's the question for her. Will she get a second wind in the tournament? That's my question. The other one was is Notre Dame's been like shooting three. That was one good point. I thought they made it halftime show. Notre Dame's been shooting 40% all season, so they're just coming back to earth. So the last 5 games, they've shot like 29% from three, and when everything you throw up from three goes in and then all of a sudden it's not going, you're like, oh my God, what's happening here? So maybe it's that. I'm not sure. If Anissa Mara is seriously injured, LSU's postseason's over. I don't think they're a definite dominant team. I don't know who will win the Natty this year. Yeah, the Natty is so open. Yeah, you'll crush me. I'm a UConn homer, of course, as everybody knows, or I'm accused of being, except for UConn sometimes when I piss them off. But yes, I think it's UConn or I think it's USC. USC, they play some nasty defense, man. Smith and Juju with their length. And that video where I said Juju was a better two-way player than Hidalgo, I didn't phrase it well. What I meant to say was just the length that Smith and Juju give puts teams in all sorts. I got USC school winning on, yeah, USC. I wouldn't be wrong putting money on that. HVL, trying to get numbers up for the draft. Yeah, Saheed, she is. Good for HVL. She's come back. She's done well. I still don't see her in the WNBA. People say I'm a hater, but I'm not. It's hard to be in the WNBA when you're just you don't have a major, like, she can take the ball to the hoop really strongly and takes contact well, but it's going to be hard for her to do that on the next level. The committee is crazy. Notre Dame was ranked ahead of South coming into the weekend. Yeah, here's my question with that is with South Carolina, if UCLA beats if UCLA beats USC, then what do they do? Are they going to move UConn out of the top four, even though UConn 29 at their place? That's going to put the committee in a very uncomfortable position. I hope it. Well, I don't think it'll happen. I still have my money on USC taking down UCLA. But if that does happen, if UCLA takes down uh, Southern Cal, then yeah, it's going to be a problem for the committee to figure out who they're going to drop out of there. But Notre Dame's dropping like a ball. Rhea Marshall was not out today, and she'll be better 100%. You know what? Rhea Marshall, I like Rhea Marshall, but in some ways, I think they're better off when she's out because I think it gives them more scoring. I like having her on the bench as well, and that rotation of Rhea Marshall and Akinwufu. I find the game tomorrow when UCLA matches up, how Kiki plays and if she's hitting her outside shot, because that's how I think you beat UCLA is because Duglic, you play small and bring Duglic out, and they get in all sorts of trouble. That's so I think in a lot of ways they're better, but as well if they do play Marshall and they're not hitting their shots, that's why USC is such a nasty matchup for UCLA because it's one of the few teams that can compete inside where they just pounded Nebraska and today Ohio State. They just physically dominate them and then they get in against Southern Cal, and they're just like, what the hell's going on here? Lauren's supposed to be, burying people. That's what he always does, but Marshall can hold her ground. And Wafu, I don't know what it is, but he plays bats so well. Anissa, in my opinion, was SEC Player of the Year. Booker is great without. Um, Apples and oranges. You can argue it all day long. Me and you could go back and forth on this, Saheed, and I'd say, hey, um, Booker got the championship. Like she won the title for the SEC this year, and if Texas doesn't have Booker on that team, they're not winning the title. I know she tied it with South Carolina, but in my opinion, that's why I'd go Booker. I don't have any issues with Madison Booker getting it. I think Anissa Morrow is good. How do you like this for a comp for Anissa Morrow? I was trying to think of comp for her in the WNBA. What do you think about Biage Laney Hamilton? But I haven't seen. I think did she go to Maryland? I'm not sure. I think she might have gone to Maryland. I haven't seen any clips of her in college, but she reminds me of that, or that's who I think she could become. Is that crazy or not? Would like your opinions on that. Notre Dame has been terrible collapse. Yes, they have been. So what is it? 3 out of 4? 3 out of the last 4 well, I guess they won their first. So I guess it's like 3 out of 5 maybe out of the last 5 games. Yeah. They are not coming home strong. One of the bigger advantages that South Carolina will have in the tournament is depth on their bench. Full Wiley, Edwards, and the bench coming out scoring will play dividends. Yeah, George, I go back and forth on that. Like, I think that's their big advantage for getting through the regular season. In some ways, the thing that's what I question about Tennessee. If you don't really have the player that you know is the dominant player at times, like a solid, in some ways, I think a solid or a seven player rotation is almost better than having like 9 players that are interchangeable. And you can argue it back and forth. I've used the clip a few times when UConn was injured last year and Jeff Walls just lost Louisville just lost to UConn. He's like, hey, their good players aren't injured. Page is there. They still at that point they hadn't lost Aubrey Griffin yet, and he's like, they're a nasty team with that six because he has good six players. And in some ways I believe that, but then it just gives you no no leeway if you get an injury. I will say, I mean, I think they've just been incredibly hurt by Watkins' injury. I think if Watkins in there, they are a totally different team, especially Watkins and Joyce Edwards. Their numbers before Watkins got injured playing together. I did a video right before Christmas saying, "Hey, they're the two keys because their numbers were off the chart." Let's see, what's the next one? Feel good as a South Carolina fan, but UConn game really haunts me. Yeah, that Pastor, that was a bad loss, man. They just came on your court and embarrassed you. And you can have one of those days, but it's just hard to get out of your memory. And if I was a South Carolina fan, I'd be saying, "Oh my God, if we come up against a hot shooting team on their day, can we keep up with them?" That it's hard to get that taste out of your mouth. That's scar tissue there that's hard to forget about. But to Dawn's credit, she's rebounded them the best she could, and good for her. The Natty's the most open it's been for a while. Yeah, I agree with that, Saheed. It is, put your money on UConn, South Carolina, USC. They're all good, and tell you what, Notre Dame get some rest, and then all of a sudden they come into the tournament and they get a few wins and they get on a roll. I could see Notre Dame winning the championship. So I'm not writing anybody off. NC State could win it. They can score they can score. Well, I almost said score the basketball. Trying to get out of that habit. They can score. Their offense is elite. So yeah, I'm not writing anybody off. Lucy Olson's a late draft pick. Yeah, maybe. How tall is she? She like 6'1", 6'2". She reminds me of a little bit of Maddie Segrist, maybe. Maybe she could get something like that. Robert, okay. Notre Dame got used to running offensive style dependent on 40%, 100%, Robert. You and me are on the same page. And yeah, it makes it really hard when you're not making your shots at 40. You do that so long, it's just too easy. It's almost like in a football game, you get that first drive, you score a touchdown, and everything works, and you're like, oh, we're going to be kicking their butts all day long, and then all of a sudden it gets difficult and turns into a nasty game. That's where they're at. Feel good at South Carolina. Let's see, I've already done that one. It's been open. Let's see. Robert, with expansion growing the W, there's going to be more roster spots with which is great for the women's game. Yeah, I agree. I think there need to be more spots. Expansion's going to be brutal though, because there are going to be so many bad games. That's the thing. Like nobody remembers the '80s when they brought in the Charlotte Hornets and Miami Heat, but it was ugly for a while. So, that, but yeah, but uh, hopefully it works out. I get really concerned about the WNBA and their economics, but I don't want to go down that path. Who will win, South Carolina tomorrow or Texas? I've got Texas. I'm not doubting Texas anymore. They play an old style of play. Um, so I've got Texas, but man, as I always say, I wouldn't put the college fund on that one because I could see Full Wiley going off. If you're a South Carolina fan, that's what you want. Just keep on building Full Wiley. She's running the court hard right now, and that's what you want. So, yeah, and hey, yeah, you got Full Wiley and Tessa, and then Raven Solid. Take your pick, but yeah, I've got Texas because I just think they're going to maul them inside. Old Acre's only a junior. God, Texas, if they get Chavez, man, they are going to be good next year. They are going to be good next year because they'll have Chavez, Old Acre returning, plus Booker, plus Harmon can return. You got to, you got to be kidding me. Facts. Avery Hell's 3-point shooting gives them so much spacing. 100% she does. She's playing well. I think sometimes they look better with Avery Howell on the court. I think they look better USC when they have Samuel playing the point guard because I think they have enough scoring already. I'd rather Samuel playing point guard than Heckle, just because I think Heckle is a liability at times on defense. Southern California's defense is elite. 100% agree with that. Their wings are so good, and we'll see tomorrow. But man, they just make it tough on Betts because they collapse. Betts throws it out, and then they can get out so quickly and they're just bigger than Kiki Rice and London Jones, obviously, and it just makes it hard. Corey Clutch was proud of her team, in my opinion. They shot 40% today, I think, from three. Or what did they shoot? They shot well from three. UCLA, how are you going to do when you're shooting 24% versus USC? Yeah, I agree. It's either or. Yep. Love your channel. Great to watch analysis research. Hey, thank you for that, Pastor. Yeah, I put out the facts there. So yeah, that's what I try to do. I just hate like God. I was watching the halftime show today, and they were like, God, what was it? Agumake was like talking about how Notre Dame just needs to get bad or something, or I don't. It didn't make it. And I'm like, no, just tell me something I don't know. I don't want to be the guy saying, oh, they were doing their thing, they did their thing. Well, what is their damn thing? Tell me that. What? Why are they going great? People think I'm an Angel Reese hater. I'm not an Angel Reese hater. I say this is what I don't like about her game. Like doing that. What I love is I love efficiency and that might but I'll give you sometimes I focus too much on efficiency. Oh, this player is so efficient, and the other player comes in and kicks their butt. So anyway, no, that's really nice to hear. Thank you, Pastor. To me, Mara is kind of like Fee. Both undersized post scores with incredible footwork. They were both rebuilt, so undersized, point forward, maybe. I see Mara more like turning. Hopefully, the other one is maybe her upside turning into who is it? Elisa Thomas, maybe Alicia Thomas. I could see that, but a little bit bigger. I think Thomas is like 6'2". It really depends on her shot. So her shots, if it continues to get better and more reliable, that's what she needs, in my opinion. Disappointed with Notre Dame. Yeah, you should be, Joseph. They just didn't play well. Um, their strongest person inside is Caval. So Westbell, King, they've just all gone quiet. Citron as well. Your hope is get some rest, and then the tournament's a new day. And then if you go out early in the tournament or don't do well in the tournament, then you can say, yeah, the season went to hell at the very end. But if it does go well in the tournament, and it can, if it does, then you're like, hey, we flipped the page. We had a team meeting. Everybody got angry at each other, and that was where it changed. South Carolina beats Texas. Do they get the number one seed? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, South Carolina's the ones, and I don't know about overall number. Well, yeah, if they beat Texas, I'm happy to give them the overall number one. It'd be between them and Southern Cal, one of those two. I think those are the two, and then UConn. Yeah, that's the problem is that loss to UConn on their home court. That's where it gives you a bad taste in your mouth, putting South Carolina so far ahead of UConn in my opinion. And you're just like, oof, should we really be doing this? Because they got done on their home court, and anybody can get done at any time. But it's just hard to get that out of your mind. Love your show, always great content. Hey, thank you very much. Um, so South Carolina got AGOT for yeah, they did get AGOT. They got AGOT McKeer. That's good. I was surprised UConn was still on her list once UConn brought in God, what's her name? Quiones, because they're very similar. Yeah, they UConn has enough wings already. They didn't need another wing, so no, that's good. Good for her. I think that'll be a good fit for her. Hopefully, it goes well. Texas is so much than this. Texas is so much. I think you're saying so much better than the start of the season. Yeah, they just got better and better. Good job. I've been questioning them on do they shoot enough threes, but man, the way they play, they just mash you. They just mash you inside. Jones is good. Holly is good. They're just all solid, know what they're gonna do. And then they run dribble handoff and get Harmon to the elbow. Harmon's playing better now. Like when they played Notre Dame at Notre Dame, a few times Hidalgo just went by Harmon. I bet if they matched up again, I think Harmon does a better job of locking her down because I don't think Harmon's knee was fully good at that point. So yeah, Texas. The only thing that scares me about Texas, if they get down by a lot, can they come back? If they have an off shooting night, if Booker go, a lot of ways are sort of like, USC who are so dependent on Juju. If Booker has a bad night, it's hard to envision them winning like what happened when they played South Carolina. Who do you think? So I imagine South Carolina. Who are they putting on Booker? I guess it'll be Bree Hall, I would suspect. So that'll be an interesting matchup to see how Bree goes against her. Let's see. What are the next ones? Would you move Full Wiley and Joyce Edwards into the starting lineup? I don't think it matters. Like I've said, I would have Full Wiley in my starting lineup, but I don't think it matters because when I think Dawn's thing is if she's playing well, then she just juices up her minutes. So, and then I think overall, I think Dawn's idea is, hey, the way we do it at South Carolina, you put your time in this program, you play well for me. I want to put you on the best show possible to set you up for the WNBA draft. And I'm fine with that as well. So if I was choosing between Raven, I think is a weak link, but Raven's always she runs a solid point, and I think Don's invested in her and wouldn't want to hurt her draft stock. Same thing with Fagan. And unless it got really, really bad, I think she's like, no, these are my guys. I rode with them. It's their time now. Go do it, and I'll put the other players in if I need to, which I'm fine with that. She gets everybody to buy in, and she has people playing hard, so I'm good with that. Thank you for your excellent reporting and analysis. Ah, thanks, David. Texas, do they play old style of hoops? Yes, they do. Texas is like uh I don't think anybody will remember this, but the Washington Bullets for a while, they had like was it Jeff Malone? They had an old team. It was like Jeff Ruland and somebody else that was old, and they would just I think maybe at some point they had Moses Malone, and they would just walk the ball up the court and just grind you to death. And that's what I think of Texas. They would have like Moses Malone and Jeff Ruland and just crush you. Let's see. What's the next one? Notre Dame lost the one seed. Yeah, absolutely. Notre Dame now just wants to hold on to that two seed or three seed and just have the first two games at home and get back. South Carolina Gamecocks will smoke Texas tomorrow. They're playing at home. Hey, they might. They might. I'm curious if, you know, um, it would be re-help build their ego if they were able to come in and smoke Texas. That's for sure. But my suspicion is that I just think it'll be, what are they? God, Madden use a knocker snockle or something. It's gonna be just a rock fight, and it'll come down to who gets hot in the third quarter, or sorry, fourth quarter, or if South Carolina like has those little quick explosions where Full Wiley has like two or three possessions where they are able to run the court and sort of get a breakaway and hold on to that lead. I can see it going that way. But looking forward to seeing it. Yeah, South Carolina, they're not shooting as well this year as they did last year. And I don't know if that's because Cardoso is not there and they don't get quite the space they did the year before. Because last year they were walling up Cardoso. Lucy Olson's 5'10". I see her and HVL getting a WNBA roster. Um, I don't see HVL making a WNBA roster, but I could be wrong. And when I say that, it doesn't mean I hate HVL or Haley Van Lith or Olson. I hope everybody has success and makes a roster. I don't see Georgia Amore making a roster. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And you, people can put it in my face. But I just think it's really hard, just with the length and the speed of the WNBA, so hard to make a roster as a rookie, especially a point guard. It's just so hard. Like who was the one for LSU? Alexis Morris. Like she was good. She was good for LSU. Ran a nice pick and roll, and she couldn't get a sniff. So it's tough. I hope you're right, G Boone. I hope I'm right too. Huh. Taylor Jones, my favorite player on Texas, good rebounder. Yeah, solid, just solid. Taylor Jones is solid. Holly solid. They're all solid. Jeff Rulin Malone, Dan Roundfield. Oh my God, you and me, Jan Michael, we are old. You and me are probably the only ones that know that. What do you make of TCU? Every time I see them, I don't buy them as a top 10 team. They tend to squeak out. Yeah, their defense isn't good. So they can score really, really well. They can run a great pick and roll. If it's on their night, they're going to win games. But if it's not their night, then they don't have a second option. And other teams can stay in with them because other teams are going to be able to score on them as well. I don't, if, if Baylor wins supposedly if Baylor wins the tournament or even by winning in and getting in the championship game, I think Charlie Crean was talking that Baylor might get that 16th seed over Tennessee. And if that happens, I want Baylor to play a hard SEC team like an Alabama or a Tennessee, and I think Baylor's going to get rocked by them. I'm calling it early. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but yeah, I don't believe in the Big 12 teams. I just don't. I don't think they're physical enough, and I think they'll get exposed when the tournament comes around. And these are I might have to eat my words, but that's just the way I feel. Robert, Haley Van Lith and Lucy Olson are too short, not athletic for their skill sets to make it to the WNBA. I agree. I put Georgia Amore in that category as well. I just don't think Amore is going to be good enough to do it. I don't I know Amore has a good shot, but will she be able to get it off enough consistently at her size? And would you rather have Georgia Amore as your backup point guard or Jada Melvin? Jada Melvin's bigger and she can get to the basket, so I'd probably go with Jada Melvin. HVL had a hard time in the SEC. She's not going to make the W. Yeah, I had a clip early on when, like in the first game TCU played, and it was like right before the buzzer in the first quarter, where Haley's like guarding somebody, and she lets her get to the basket. I was like, yeah, that's the same Haley Van Lith. I was gonna, come with a little snarky comment, but I was like, I've been mean enough to Haley anyway. But yeah, I just don't think she's gonna have the ability to guard people because that's what they do in the WNBA. They find out the weak link and then they go pick on them, and that's the way it is. So even if you can score, if you can't hold up on defense, you're just not going to survive in the WNBA, in my opinion. 5'10" is too short if you don't have exceptional athletic ability. And everybody will come at me with the girl in Atlanta. What's her name? She played for, what did she play for? Arizona State, Arizona. I can't remember. She's small. I think she played with the the Sparks last year. What is her name? Like, yes, she can. Donald, I think it is. Yeah, Ari McDonald. And and yeah, Jordan as well. They get by because they're exceptionally quick. Like that's what you need if you're going to be in there. I think you have to be, but even those players, it's tough for them because on pick and rolls and things like that, everybody's looking for a 6'1" point guard. I mean, that's why I know last season Anescu was a little bit up and down. Like she had a good year last year, but at times she can be up and down. But to be that big and run a team, That is big, in my opinion, and that's why the whole debate on Paige Beckers, it's she's efficient. The worst thing Paige, the downside on Paige is okay, she won't be a big scorer like Clay Clark, and that's fine because she'll she'll be a solid point guard. Like she knows how to do that. She'll be able to hit open shots. She'll be able to hold up on defense. She was able to play power forward on defense. So that's somebody that's going to hold up on the other side of the ball, and that's what you want basically. So that's why it's not that I don't like Olivia Miles or anything. I just if I'm choosing between two players, then I'm going with the one that has more size for the WNBA because I think it's really important. Yeah, that's what was in my video as well. That's the question: is AZ Fudd coming back to UConn next year? Um, I think she comes back. I think she needs more time. I think she'll take the risk of getting injury. The only way I don't see her coming back is if she just dominates the tournament. You know, she goes on a heater, which she can do at times, and then they win the championship, and it's just she's riding high, her draft stock's high. She's won a championship. Why not go out now? And if she did that, I wouldn't begrudge. I don't care what she does. You know, I wouldn't begrudge her if she comes back or she goes. She has to make the best decision for her. But I don't understand the race to get into the WNBA because the contract is not guaranteed. The money's not real great. Um, and that might change with the next CBA. But man, yeah, I wouldn't be in any hurry for her to leave. But the risk is if she takes an injury in that fifth year, that would just be devastating. Hey, Bruin Vince, how you doing? Bruins were hitting their threes tonight. When that happens, they're really hard to beat. Sure wish they could do that. That would be nice. If you, well, hopefully you'll shoot better than 15%. I think that's what y'all shot from three in the first game against versus Southern Cal. So hopefully, if you could get 30% Bruin Vince, would you take that? I would walk away with that. Yeah. Uh, Curious to see. That's the game tomorrow. That's the one I want to see. How does UCLA respond? Because Texas and yeah, Texas, South Carolina, yeah, it should be a good game. You know, I'm looking forward to that. But they both have one apiece, and you can come with that. But if UCLA goes down 0-3 to Southern Cal. That is just devastating. I mean, that I said before it was a knockout. I mean, before it was a technical knockout. If they take you down again and it's ugly, oh my God, that we need to stop the fight. You know, we need to get the fight doctor Freddie Pacheco into the ring. What else do I have? I want to hear some key dates. Let me give you some key dates here. All right. So I wrote this down. Hold on. Where is it? God, can you believe that? I came in prepared. I wrote down notes. The key dates on, God, where did I put it? Here we go. Here we go. All right. So key dates here. Um, so the portal opens on the 25th of March and stays open till the 23rd of April. Um, and with that, that's after the second round gets finished in the tournament. The 4th of April, players have to notify the WNBA if they're going into the draft or not. That's 10 days before the draft. The draft is held on the 14th of April. Um, I had it before. I think the tournament, I forgot to write it down. I think the tournament is on the 6th of April. So you have to notify the WNBA before the national championship game. Wow. And then 14th of April, then WNBA training camp opens on the 27th of April. And then 16th of May, the WNBA season begins. So those are just key dates to put in your calendar. Um, all right. Any other questions? Happy to take questions. Let's see. What else did I see today? I did take notes. So Notre Dame in the last, um, what I get, Notre Dame. The other thing, Notre Dame's rebounding. You know how I show the stats on how many offensive rebound the other team gets on defense. So it was for the season. It's been 27% of the missed shots the opponent gets the offensive rebound. Last 10 games, it's been 28%. In the last 5 games, 30.8%. So that is slowly creeping up. And then I did something on their shooting numbers. So with Notre Dame's shooting numbers, um, so 3 point percentage um, for the season, their 3 point percentage is 40%. During the conference regular season, it's been 38%. Last 10 games, been 37%. In the last 5 games, 29%. So they have dropped off a cliff in the last 5 games, hence why they are struggling. Uh, and Vincent, that's what's up with Notre Dame. They can't shoot the ball straight right now. They were in a boat they couldn't hit the ocean. And I'm a little bit over dramatic here, but yeah, you're gonna feel it if you're shooting 3 pointers at between 37 and 40%, and you drop off to 29%. You're gonna be almost like UCLA going, "Oh my God, what do we do when we're shooting 15% from three?" What do you think the ceiling is for LSU? Having a hard time getting if they're a real national title contender or not. Afraid to underestimate a Mulkey team. So am I, Robert. Yeah, I just think they're too banged up though. Like when you think about Flage's banged up, they do have time to get healthy. A lot of it's going to be determined on how Morrow is with her foot. Like hopefully it's not a break or something stupid like a God, what's that one? The Liz Frank injury. Hope it's not anything dumb like that. And if it is, if she can get back and fully healthy and Flage is, then they've got a chance. But they it's ironic that right now Notre Dame has to go, not Notre Dame, but LSU has to play small. I think that's their best lineup is when they're playing small with Smith. And then I don't know if you saw today, but Del Rosario, they gave her another chance and she had like a 2 minute stretch where it was bad. Like she got buried by Oldacre, then beat down the court by Oldacre, had 2 looks at the basket and just couldn't finish. You could just see Mulkey pissed off. Like she had a easy look at the basket, she couldn't finish, and straight away Texas got the rebound, and Oldacre beat her down the court for a layup, and Mulkey called a timeout. You could just see Mulkey was pissed. I think Regis gave a tap on the shoulder, like, "What are you doing?" What do you think the ceiling is? What is the Madison Booker's legit? A true three. The Madison Booker is legit. Yes, and it's interesting. She gave up cookies. Look how good she is. Yeah. Again, people can complain about her being Player of the Year in the SEC. I got no issue with it because she won the title this year or co-champion with South Carolina, and yeah, and she's integral to that team. That team loses Booker, they're not going anywhere. Does Carolyn Krieger? Um, yeah, I can't give you any on that. I don't know. Notre Dame is trending downwards. Yes, they are. Watch the game today. Del Rosario was unplayable. Yeah, well, she had that stretch. It was ugly, ugly, ugly for Del Rosario. She just really hasn't developed. She was like the number 7 recruit. She's had issues with an ankle. She's just not mobile enough. But I thought she was making progress during the earlier game yesterday. She had a few good post ups. I was like, ooh, that could be interesting. If Mulkey has a big, that's always when Mulkey's best. But yeah, she got exposed in this game. I know, let's see, Vince. I know for much of the season, Notre Dame had a short bench and the starters had to do playing minutes. Do you think the drop off in shooting could be funny? You're late, Vince. You were late to class. All right, I've already gone through the minutes. I will do this in a video tonight. I'm going to give up a video tonight. But what I've done is I've gone for the top 8 teams and I've broken down their minutes. I'm going to put that in my video tonight. Funny enough, uh, TCU, Haley Van Lith has played the most minutes out of the top 8 teams, if you like. So Haley Van Lith has played 1,106 minutes versus Mara's had like 1,054, Miles 1,020, Hidalgo 990. Um, and then Juju Watkins is in the 1,000 club. So is Sanaya Rivers. She's in the 1,000 club. And then after that, Duke, UConn, UCLA, and South Carolina, all of their players are in the 800 club. So Ashlyn Jackson, I think she's like 802. Sarah Strong, 863. Betts, 811. and then Tahina Pow Pow 783. So yeah, fatigue could play a part of it, but yeah, it's hard to know. Uh, let's see. Yes, I want to see. Yes, I want to see what the different tactics are, Pam and eggs. Yes, I want to see what the different tactics are going to be. Y- The thing that bugs me about UCLA, and granted, I'm an under 10s coach, so take it with a grain of salt. We went undefeated. My under 10s team went undefeated, but we don't keep score, so it doesn't matter. But I will say this, if you can coach under 10s girls basketball, you can coach college basketball because it's like herding cats. All right, I digress. Um, I want to see UCLA, and they won't do it for some. I want Gardner at high post. I want Gardner getting the ball and feeding Betts. Like they got a few good looks in that game where Betts was fed from the high post, and then they didn't do it in the second UCLA game. I think that's the key for them. They really have to get somebody else in the high post. If you look at Lauren Betts' numbers, her high post shooting numbers, like she's taken some, they're horrific. She cannot hit a shot from the top of like the free throw line. Like, and then I compared it to Cardoso. I need to put that stat up, but I compared it to Cardoso, and Cardoso was better. Like she was a better shooter than Betts, and that's the problem. And Duglic has a nasty, nasty habit, Duglic, of like forcing the ball in the post. They all force it, like she's getting doubled. And they're just like, we're gonna throw it in there and figure out and let Lauren figure it out and then get banged on. So it'll be interesting of what her new it will be like George what was it, George Bush strategium, strategia. What was it in that Saturday Night Live segment? I'm curious to see that. So I look forward to looking at Corey Close's, but Pam and Eggs, how can Corey Close be changing her tactics? They put together that team was prepared for that game. How could the tactics be wrong? Corey told me how prepared UCLA was for that game. It was just a want issue. Don't you remember that press conference? This team was prepared because Corey's the first one to say it's her fault, but it seems like if she's changing her tactics a bit, maybe it was a little bit on the coaching staff. I have to think about that. Back to sports, and I sorry for being sarcastic. Vince Baker, sorry, back to sport. Yeah, I was too late to. Yes, you're all right. That's detention, Vince. Robert Sanders, Corey is a terrible game. Uh, yeah, I've picked on Corey Close enough. I do like Corey. I like the way she treats the media. I think she's great. I think she's a positive person. Everything else, it just hasn't gone well. And if I wind up being wrong on Corey Close, if she makes a run to the championship, gets to the Final Four, great. And I'll eat it. Vince and Pam and Eggs can come at me and say, back to sports. You've been rubbishing Corey. You owe her an apology. And I will give Corey Close an apology and say, man, I'm a YouTube guy. I'll come back and say, wow, Corey Close, what a great job of cracking the whip after they lost to USC and you never lost a game again. Great job, Corey Close. I will do that. All right. I eat it on my channel. When I get it wrong, like, if you want to know that, you just look up my Nika Mule video when I got it wrong on Nika Mule about how she wouldn't make the Seattle Storm. I totally ate it on that. So yes, Vincent, Sedona Prince against Lauren Betts would be a great matchup. Well, Vince, I don't want to be mean to you, Vince, but Akinwafu on Lauren Betts is a pretty good matchup as well. And by the way, I haven't shown that clip of Oregon State hitting that jumper this year, I don't think. Um, Yeah, it doesn't. Pam and eggs. UCLA just does not fit. I don't know why, but it doesn't. Um, Baker Barker. I'm calling her Baker. Barker just doesn't. Yeah, she has beautiful post moves. Like she has a nice turnaround, but in the game versus USC, it seemed like everything she did was rushed. Like she was almost trying too hard a little bit. Um, but and just I don't know why she's lost her shot from Texas A&M because she used to shoot about 30% from three. So I don't know why that's gone. Um, Robert. I hope we get healthy. LSU rematch with where I see Corey Close melt down against Mulkey. That's what I want to see, Robert. I want to see, yeah, I want to see LSU and UCLA in the same region. That's what we all want. We want to see the handshake and just, they hate each other. There's nothing better than coach hate on each other. I love it because it doesn't really matter. And yeah, it'll be so good. We'll throw in layers under the bus if well, she might. And UCLA versus LSU. That's an interesting matchup because they'll play it much like LSU would play UCLA, much like um, the Southern Cal plays them, where they've got Flage who can come down. They've got Morrow who's athletic and just swarm her as well. They'll put Smith outside and they can go small on her as well. It would be an interesting matchup. I'm here for LSU. Yeah, Southern Cal. That not LSU versus UCLA. That would be awesome in my opinion. I don't think you owe Close an apology. I agree with you. Yes. Well, Vince, hopefully you and me will have to eat it for your sake. Wouldn't you rather a championship and have to eat it? Okunwafu, often Waku can't score, Vince, but she does what she does, which is pester Lauren Vetz. Caval too slow. Yeah, she's a freshman though. I'd take Caval's freshman year over Del Rosario. All right. And she was better than Maddie Westbell today. And Caval is big. I think Caval will be a very solid big. She knows what she is. It'll be fun watching Caval and the Yukon one, El Alfie, go at it for years to come. Mulkey's the only coach, is the only coach Close never says anything good about. Yeah, I don't think they're on their mailing list or Christmas list. I don't know the details of this, and somebody will put a comment in, but I think Close made a comment about the LSU players or something like. I think one of the columnists didn't a columnist out there do a hit piece on LSU that he had to apologize. It was basically LSU is a bunch of thugs, just all the wrong things. And Mulkey thought that Close didn't defend her team or something. It was something like that. So yeah, they have no time for each other, which I love. Janaya Barker, Rivers, both insanely athletic players with WNBA calibers, but have not been able to develop shots. Yeah, 100%. Uh, I say this all the time. People will laugh at me, but um, now who is it? Lynn Roberts. If I was a if I was if I was Barker, I would have gone to Utah because all Utah does is work on their shot, and they say, "Hey, you were going to play a WNBA way," and that would get her ready. That's the same thing I said with Anissa Morrow. And I know other things factor into where these people aren't robots. All right, so you got to go where you're going to be happy. But if I was wanting to be prepared for the WNBA and I had a medium good shot and was athletic, I would go to Utah because I know that I'd be getting the go ahead to shoot and just totally improve my shot. Uh, yeah, yeah, UConn. All I care about UConn is that they're healthy. That's all I care about UConn. Get through there. AZ Fudd don't get an injury. Speaking of which, I don't know if whoever's joined late. Aubrey Griffin's out with sore knee for the tournament for the big what is it, Big East tournament. Like she had some knee soreness. As a precaution, they're keeping her out to have her ready, which I say fantastic. Get the knee healthy. Any soreness or swelling out and be ready for the tournament because they need Aubrey Griffin. Because if they're going to match up like against Southern Cal, they need her to guard you. They need a healthy Aubrey Griffin for sure. NC State is a dark horse to win it all. They have an elite offense. Defense isn't as good as the other ones, but if you can score I'm not saying score the basketball. If you can score well, then you have a chance. And they're I think they're scoring like 110 points per 100 possession. So yeah, NC State is in the mix. Yeah, Mulkey does not like Corey Close. That's right. I'm telling you, it has to do something with that article. I don't have all the details. You need to go to another channel on that. But supposedly Mulkey felt Close didn't defend her team regarding the hit piece done by like the LA Times columnist or somebody like that. Yeah, Texas has who is it? Was it Shay Holly or Holly Shay? I'm gonna get that wrong. She can hit threes. Yeah, yeah, that they do. Booker goes all right. I haven't looked at their percentages, but they're just like Vic's just old school, man. He's just like, all right, we're just gonna grind. We're gonna throw it to Oldacre and Jones, and then run, dribble handoff and let Roy and Madison Booker attack you on the elbows. Yeah, Booker can hit threes. No, Booker has all three levels. Booker is awesome. And Booker gave up cookies. He reworked her body. I need to give up cookies. That's my hope. Biggest challenge for UConn is adjusting to playing tougher tournament teams and after being in such a weak conference. Yeah, they did it last year though. If the UConn, I don't know. They always seem to be right at the right time. The only time I've seen UConn not go well in the tournament was when that Ohio State game. They just had no answer for the press, and AZ Fudd looked tentative in that knee brace. It was just ugly. And but every year they've had Page there. They've made a run to the Final Four. So yeah, I don't see why this year would be any different. Especially since she has Sarah Strong. Sarah Strong is, yeah, pretty damn good. UConn coach said this will be. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I saw that as well. I saw his press conference. Love Gino's press conferences. Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, yeah. And he's totally right. Like, got 8 teams that can win it. It's totally open field. It'll be great. There'll be dog games in the first 2 rounds, and maybe an upset, but yeah, the second round and then on is going to be really, really good. I can't wait to see what the basically what the brackets are going to be. It'll be good. Is that right? Let me hold on. Well, I can't put this up, but you got me curious here, Vince. All right. So they say Texas is one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the country. Um, okay. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to look this up. You got me thinking, Vince. Uh, did I lose YouTube? All right. I will look it up if my thing doesn't. If hopefully I don't lose you guys. Let's go Texas. Texas women Longhorn. Let's see. It'll take a while to come back. What's 3-point percentage for the season? They are shooting 30.5% from 3-point range, and that puts them 42nd percentile. Last 5 games, they've shot 29%, 33 percentile, and last 10 games, 32%, which is 67th percentile. The thing is their attempts, right? So this year they've taken 10 3-point attempts per game. That puts them in the 1 percentile. And that's not number one isn't good. 100% is good. That means that they would rather die than shoot a 3-pointer, it looks like. Okay. Let's see. What's the next one? I can get that out of the way. Um, What do you think about the ceiling and floor of Alabama after losing a terrible Florida team in the SEC tournament? I think it depends on who Alabama's matched up against. If they get some soft Big 12 team, then they can win. I think a team that's played in the SEC, I think they'll wind up being tougher. And in those games, I think Ole Miss and I think Alabama and all those teams will go fine. I think they will, but then when they get to teams better to them, they won't. But I think when they play, um, I'll have to see the different matchups. But yeah, I think they'll be tournament tough just from all the different teams they've played. Yeah, that's Texas' only weakness. If they get far behind, or if they get a team that gets hot from three, then they Texas will struggle because three is more than one. Obviously, or three is more than two. God, got my math wrong. So yeah, that is their only weakness in my opinion. And my God, if they wind up getting Chavez the number Prude. I think she can shoot well from what I've seen on the clips. Now it's hard to know, of course. They don't put the mixtapes together and show the players missing. If you ever watch one of those games, you'll see a player and then you watch the entirety of the game. You're like, oh my God, is anybody going to score here? Because it's a high school game. But if you watch the clips, they put good music to it, and all they do are just hitting 3 pointers. And you're just like, oh my God, this player's never going to miss when she gets to college. And then they come, and it's like, oh, right. Then reality sets in. Yeah, they're better than you thought, Vince. They know what they're doing, and then they guard the line as well. So on defense, let's see, on defense, teams 27% for threes against them. And as well, teams only get 18%, only take 18 3 pointers against them. Like the majority of the shots come at Texas are in the mid range game, like 21%. And yeah, Texas, their defense is tough, man. Texas is tough. Yeah. Texas or South Carolina? Texas. Yeah, I'm gonna go Texas, the great state of Texas. I'm partial because I was born and raised in Texas. Although I have a love-hate relationship with Texas because they killed the Southwest Conference, in my opinion. And then when they killed the Southwest Conference, they made sure the Houston Cougars weren't going to be taken to the Southwest, to the Big 12, which sort of pissed me off. And then they killed the Big 12. So Texas is a bit of a bully. So yeah, but I do love Texas. So there you go. I digress. I'm sorry. So there you go. I need to do a video on how the Southwest Conference got decimated. SMU flying around in jets. It was good. I, yeah, I hate the conference as well, but I sound like an old man complaining. But yeah, my fandom died. A part of my fandom died when the Southwest Conference died. That really killed me. I got to tell you, it really did. And then after that, I was so jaded. And then the final knife in my heart was when the Houston Oilers left to go to Tennessee. So it's just, and I was never. Everybody else felt bad for Tennessee getting 1 yard short of the Super Bowl. It made me unbelievably happy because my sister lives in Tennessee and they were cheering for him. And I see them. I see the Tennessee Titans as Judas. They left. Um, yeah, the conferences are all messed up. Yeah, Maryland should be in the ACC. I was thinking the same thing. I was looking at my stats. Sometimes I can go to this team to get to stats, and I was trying to get to the ACC, so I clicked on Maryland. I was like, what the Big Ten? And then it just always takes me a second to figure out Maryland's in the Big Ten. It's just so wrong. And I wish the Big East was what the Big East used to be. Syracuse in there, and yeah, it's all messed up. And the Pac-12 gone too. Yeah, it's bad. The Pac the thing was the Pac-12 was just so good last year. So it's crazy. It's crazy, you know. And yeah, it is. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. Like I wish there was if college sports could just figure out that aspect because they're all so damn greedy. Each school is trying to kill the other schools and put knives in their back. If they could just figure that one aspect out, then it would just be unstoppable and give the players a little bit more money because college would just dominate pro sports because pro sports you feel like it's a single owner just trying to put a knife in into your pocket basically where this one you feel you have ownership of it because University of Texas isn't moving from Austin to get a new stadium built, so it's just like, oh my god. Do you think Tennessee has been on the struggle bus so much since the win against UConn? It's almost like they hung in their hats and called it a day. With Tennessee, I just think they're really variable, just the way they play. I think some nights they'll look unstoppable, and then other nights they won't because they like rotate their players in like a hockey team. And I think for a little while, I think they were playing above their heads. Uh, I did it in the last video. Caldwell said, I think I ran my team a little bit too hard in practice. If I had to do it over again, I would load manage them differently. I was like, okay, well, there you go, coach. At least she's taking that on board. So I wouldn't want to play Tennessee in the tournament. I could see them going on a little bit of a run, But then again, I could see them having a bad night of shooting and getting knocked out early on. But that's my overall take. I'm just curious how she's going to do about um, how she's going to do with the recruiting class next year and how they're going to go. It'll be interesting because they've got the two little twins coming in, and I'm really curious to see what is it like. I can't remember their names. But it's a weird P name. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, want to see how Tennessee integrates all those parts next year. Give us one team that you think is going further in the tournament than anyone expects. One team that goes than anyone expects. Um, I'll tell you what, NC State. NC State because they can score, and that's part of guilt on my part because when I did like the top 8 teams, I screwed Tennessee fans over because not Tennessee, NC State fans over because I had to do like a 2-second blurb on them and didn't give them enough love. So yeah, I think NC State could surprise people again and make it to the Final Four. There you go. Yeah, Tennessee. Yeah, I can see Tennessee going on a roll as well. Who would you give to coach? Who would you give Coach of the Year to? Um, you know who I'm giving the Coach of the Year to? I'm giving it to, and I can't. What is it? Scott. God, who's the coach of Oregon State? Who's the? What's his name? Scott Grillick, or I can't remember. God, I knew it last year, but yeah, I'd give it to the Oregon State coach. His team got decimated with transfers. He didn't bitch and moan about it, and just got on with it. Same with the Colorado State coach as well. I like, I appreciate loyalty. They didn't complain. They just got on with it. Didn't do a whole big whine. Scott Ruick, thank you. Runs a beautiful offense. Gardner, you need to get back with Ruick. He didn't complain or anything, so I would give it to him. All right. So Ruick was good. But okay, but really, if I had to choose one, I'll get crushed for this, but I like Lindsay Gottlieb. She took a whole bunch of rookies. She had the number one class, got them in with three high profile transfers, and had them all come together. And they seemed better at the end of the season than they were at the start of the season. I like how after a loss, she reorganizes them. Yeah, so Gottlieb. I would give Kenny Brooks some love coming into the SEC with Amore and finishing fourth or fifth. Same thing with Oklahoma and Vic. All those ones, Oklahoma and Vic coming into the SEC and doing well. That's a big job because that's a hard task because you have to do um, scouts on all these new teams you haven't faced, which would be a pain in the bum. So yeah, I would give those would be my three. So I would have Gottlieb one, but by a whisker, and then I'd have who would be the other one? Um, Vic Schaefer because he went back to the SEC and did well, and the same thing with God, the Oklahoma coach. I think she's done well as well. God, I've lost her name in my head. Who's the Oklahoma coach? Runs a beautiful offense. They can't play defense. They got their butts kicked by Varanchek, Jenny Varanchek. Is I get it right? Yeah, Jenny Varanchek. I think it is Varanchek. Anyway, that's pretty good for me. Yeah, those would be mine. And if I was a program and wanted to coach, I'd be bringing in Scott Ruick. That's who I'd be looking to get for sure. I liked his demeanor. I haven't done a full study on him, but I like his demeanor. The other one, who's the TCU coach? TCU coach, is it Mark? I'm going to say Mark Murphy. I know it's not Mark Murphy. That's not right, but it's Mark something, I think. He seems like a very solid coach to me. Um, with Mark Campbell, thank you. Yeah, he he built that TCU program up. He seems very um, I like coaches that aren't rah rah. Hence why I crushed Corey Close. I like coaches that are just even keeled to a certain degree, and then you'll say, "Oh, well, you like Gino." Well, I think some of Gino's stuff is a little bit performance, and to a certain degree, I don't want everybody to be a robot because that's. But I like analytical coaches, and if you get in a press conference, you can see the reasoning behind Gino and what he's thinking. He's smart in terms of how he builds teams and what he's thinking, and he'll give you insight to what he's thinking. So I'm not saying you can't be a rant. You've got to be who you are and true to who you are. But yeah, I do like Ruick, and I did think Mark Campbell. He's done a good job, and I know that he was the lead assistant at Oregon, and since he left Oregon, they have not gone well because he recruited quite well, I believe. I think he helped prop that program up quite a bit. Who's the coach of Oregon? Is it Kelly? I can't remember his last name. Or is it Kelly the last name? I can't remember. But yeah, I thought they struggled when Campbell left. Because for one of the videos, I sort of looked at the math of when he left and when Oregon sort of fell off a little bit. Yeah, I just think Oklahoma struggles with just the turnovers and stuff. Like they do well to battle in that conference because I think they've done a pretty good adjustment with that. If it doesn't get any better than Gino, yeah, trust me. When Kelly Graves, thank you. With Gino, like it's funny. I was looking today about how many videos I've done, and I've done over the course of the channel career. I think I've done like 480 videos, and when you start YouTube, some of it's like, hey, you want to be controversy guy. So I did one where I was going to rip on Gino. I think I did one where I was trying to rip on Gino and I was calling him Gino Ari Emma. you know, and that's what you do. But then I started watching his press. I was like, I can't rip on this guy. I like him too much. In the same way with Mulkey, like I did one with Mulkey on Griner, and when I was doing the video, I became to like Mulkey better. I don't agree with a lot of her stances, but I understand her mindset, and I don't begrudge her on that. So, my Mulkey, I did one on Mulkey and Brittany Griner, which I think is my best video. The only problem is during the video, I try to say sexuality and I can't say it right. Like challenge, I was saying it's a word I can't say. It sounds ridiculous. But by far, of all the videos I've done, the Mulkeyverse Brittany Griner is the best video I've done by far. Um, what would you like to see? Would you like to see Yukon play? Yes, I would. I would like to see that, and I would love to see Yukon play Notre Dame. I'd love to see UConn play Notre Dame because that would I could do the video. I could do that video in my sleep. You're gonna have the Hannah Hidalgo sledge on AZ Fudd, which really wasn't a sledge, but God knows I'm an evil content creator, so I'll be playing that up to the hilt. You think of me now? Oh my God. Ooh, I do think, yeah, USC UConn would be a great final, and um, God, I get killed for this. The last time UConn and USC matched up, it was it the Elite Eight? Yeah, it was Elite Eight. I had USC winning that game. I thought, no way. That was one of the biggest shocks for me last year was UConn beating USC because I just um, thought their guards were going to be too much for them. I thought because they had Forbes and they had Juju, I thought that size was going to get all over Nika, and it was amazing in that game because Ashlyn Shade was almost unplayable because she couldn't handle the size, and Cadence Samuels came on and delivered solid minutes, and then Ice Brady hit a three in the corner, a nice shot at the top of the key. It was one of the biggest, it was the biggest surprise of my of basketball last year. The way UConn played that game, I was like, okay. So when I tell people, oh, I think UConn will figure it out, and I don't doubt them, it's mainly because that game, because I thought they were done last year. Would be good, yeah. I would. I feel UConn versus South Carolina as well. I want to see that one because that wouldn't be bad either. Because I would love to see just the rematch and if UConn could do it again, and just the whole aspect of South Carolina trying to get revenge and everything else, be a fascinating matchup. It really would. So yeah, I'd like to see that one as well. So I can't wait until the brackets come out to see what potential matchups we have. Yeah, Ice. Well, was Ice Brady better last year? I don't. Yeah, Gino says her defense was better this year, so I don't know. I I was going to do a video ice build up and talk about how She knows how to build up ice to make her feel like she's a good player because he knows she plays better with confidence. UConn did well as they did because they, yeah, Gino gets the team ready. He knows what's the one thing Oriema does well. Um, he knows what he's trying to do. He knows the player he needs, and he knows usually the type of players that can take his criticism and fit well into his system. And that's half the thing. You got to figure out people just because you're a number one recruit or top five. If you can't take it, then that's why they don't recruit you. You know, he tries to get a decent fit to see if it'll work. They just moved Page back in the traditional PG. In most situations, just like freshman year, very interesting. Gino said Page complains. Yeah, I saw that. I did a little bit about that. Yeah, and I and that was begrudging on his. Like that press conference, he sort of took out Paige, saying, she if she doesn't have the ball in her hands, she basically pouts and doesn't run up court. I didn't believe he was just poking the bear. I just like he's just poking the bear and saying, "Yeah, here's your ball. You take it. Now you take over the game. If you're going to do that and pout, then you take over the game." He was messing with her. I do, and I don't. And I remember, I used a clip of it with Paige and like her press conference saying, "Yeah, coach says I don't run enough and everything else." It's nothing. If I'm a UConn fan, I'm happy when Paige Beckers has the ball in her hands. I think Gino Auriemma is happy with that as well. Uh, from Ducharme, if that happened, okay, here's the scenario. Page runs pick and roll with AZ, he throws it to AZ, he throws it to Charm in the corner, who buries the three, and then totally puts an end to the UConn injury curse. Yes, that would be the magic formula for UConn to finish off of all the injuries. What happened to LSU? Well, they got beat up. They've been playing the same players and they're undersized and they've been taking a beating. And yeah, that's what's happened to LSU. I think they're fine. They just need to get healthy and get ready and then play small. Yeah, I agree, Saeed. Samuels needs to go in the transfer portal. She's too good not to play at all. She needs to go somewhere where she get minutes. Yeah. Paige at PG is a good coach. Huge advantage. Yeah. I have no issues with Paige playing having the most usage on the ball. So yeah. And yeah, I don't, but I do like how UConn sort of has 2 point guards out there. If Chin's there or KK Arnold's on the court, just to take the ball off her hands at times, just so she's not just worn down throughout the game. That's my thoughts on that. I think I'll wrap up in about 5 minutes. All right. So any last questions? Get them in. I'm gonna do my computer's 3:31, so at 3:35, I think we'll call into this. All right. So, God, it must be late over there. It must be like 11:30 or something. So we have a public holiday tomorrow, so I get to watch games, so it's good. So Canberra Day. Um, any other questions, thoughts, comments? Did I get anything wrong? 11:30, but daylight savings tomorrow. So do you go back? So it'll be 10:30 tomorrow. Is that right? TCU Baylor. I got TCU. Yeah, and the reason I have TCU is I don't trust Baylor. I think whenever it's a big game, Baylor lets me down. All right, that's all I can tell you. Duke or NC State? I've got NC State. Yeah. Let me see if the lines are up. Spring forward. All right. So we're springing back because I'm in Australia. Hold on. Let me see. Hopefully I don't lose my feed here. Have they done the lines for these games yet? All right. What's finished? Let's go a bit degenerate before we finish. 8:30 on the West Coast. Ah, good. All right. You ready to go degenerate here? Let's go degenerate. So number 11 Duke versus number 7 NC State. It's minus 2.5 and NC State's paying plus 110. All right, minus 2.5. Yeah. Duke is minus 2.5. Yep. Okay. UConn versus Villanova. UConn is minus 27.5. Villanova is plus 1200. Yes, I'll take UConn in the minus 25. There were games today, weren't there? All right. Let's see. Are those the only ones I have so far? Let's see. Texas, South Carolina minus 4.5. Oh my God. The disrespect to South Carolina. Yeah, South Carolina is paying minus 200. All right. So you gotta so there you go. There's degenerate corner. I don't see ooh, UCLA, USC. What do you got there? What do you think it's gonna be? UCLA, USC. USC is minus 2.5. USC is plus 110, and USC, yeah, UConn. Yeah, get that money on that UConn thing. All right. Baylor and TCU. TCU is minus 2.5. And yeah, I need a sponsorship with DraftKings. So, but don't bet, all right? Bad sponsor. So let's see. Uh, TCU minus 2.5, paying minus 150, and Baylor is plus 2.5, paying plus 110. Yeah, I haven't watched enough of them, but I watched tough. I thought they turtled, and I think they turtle when games get tough, harsh, and if they win and they do well in the tournament, I'll eat it from Baylor fans, which is fine. Let's see. Let's see. Obviously, UConn going to win. Had a tough time with LSU. Yeah, Texas had a tough time with LSU, but LSU was better than Oklahoma. Like Oklahoma is a one seed. I said it earlier. I think that comes down to UCLA, and I think it'll one seed in my opinion. Um, and then if that happens, man, they would have to probably leave. South Carolina is a two seed, which is unbelievable in my mind because they had bad loss to UCLA and they had a bad loss to UConn. Or they have to drop UConn, and then UConn's like, well, that's not fair because we beat South Carolina on their court by 29. So how dare you drop us? So either, and to be honest, I'll probably do a video on it, but it doesn't really matter, does it? each con- each region's going to have a good one and two seed, so I don't think it really matters in my opinion. South Carolina needs a really dominant big to win. Yeah, they need Adele Tack to develop next year. I'm curious how Adele Tack is coming and if she will be the next big in line. Let's have UCLA win one. Yeah, UCLA wins. Yeah, I think they're one seed. USC, there we go. Saheed. Oh wow. Yeah, TCO needs a win. Yeah. Who do you think UConn would want to target in the trans? Got no idea on that. Let me see who goes in the transfer portal. Somebody big though. I think they need somebody big, but they always seem to go for point guards. So we'll see. Also, what do you think of Notre Dame today? You'll need to rewatch this. I sort of Notre Dame can't shoot right now. If they were in a boat, they couldn't hit the water. That's why they're playing so bad. In a nutshell, they need a little bit of rest and get their groove back. If South Carolina beats Texas, the number one seed will be a tough call. It will be. It will be. I think UConn would have to drop if South Carolina beats Texas and UCLA beats Southern. Um, one would be either South Carolina and then no, yeah, one would be South Carolina, maybe two Texas. I don't know. I don't want to get beyond the Texas. Who am I leaving out? Texas, UC there. So it'd be South Carolina. God, I'm in. Who would it be? Let me save the top 10 real quick. Sorry, that's bothering me. Top 25 women's basketball. I just can't think of the teams. Yeah, but South Carolina would be, and then UCLA. You can put UCLA over South Carolina, regardless. I think US three. I've literally forgot it. The video 2 seconds ago. Who am I looking for? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. All right, we'll end it there. Yeah, thanks a lot for coming to the chat. It was fun. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I'll try to get a video up tonight. Just a quick hitter, but we'll see how we go. All right, you guys have a great night. Okay. Texas Southern Cal, yeah. UCLA, Southern Cal. Thank you. That's it. Well done. Vince, I'll go with you. Yes, I couldn't come with it. Well done. All right. See y'all. Yeah, well done, Vince. Save me again. How do I end this? There we go.